back where you say really the events started on what date and what was the impetus?
Well, the event that set it off was on April 30th, on Thursday night. President Nixon made a speech to the country saying he was sending troops into Cambodia. And that was incendiary to many college kids. And Kent State, the students on Friday afternoon, the following day, gathered on the campus and by something called the Victory Bell, and they dug a hole and they buried a page from the U.S. Constitution saying that the Constitution was dead, that Nixon had killed it because he broke the Constitution, violated the Constitution by not going to Congress and asking for its approval to send troops into another country, meaning from Vietnam into Cambodia.
Even though we know now, in hindsight, we had already been doing some work in Cambodia already, even before that announcement, right? It wasn't like they stopped the troops at the border. We know that there had already been some forays into Cambodia.
Yes, that's
already. Yeah,
very true. But this was a national speech. He had billboards with him, and he was drawing lines and so on as he made the speech, and he made a big deal out of it. And so when the students at Kent State were upset about it, they decided to make this symbolic gesture of burying the Constitution.
Let me get back to that timeline in a second, but let's talk about Kent State. So, Kent, Ohio, outside of Akron, I've been past it a bunch of times. It's like right on the Cuyahoga, right? It's a beautiful countryside. And if you had picked a place where there would be this type of violent confrontation with police and National Guard a month earlier, 2 months earlier, I don't know that anybody would have picked Kent State as the place where this was going to happen. They might have said Berkeley, they might have said University of Chicago, they might have said a lot of different places before they would have said Kent State University. Why do you think Kent State students, what was it about Kent State students that led them to do something like dig a hole in front of the bell and bury the Constitution and say the Constitution is dead? What was it about their composition? What's the personality of the Kent State students back when this happened?
Students, Kent State is located in a sort of sleepy town where the population outside the university is fairly conservative. And this was a time when students were beginning to wear headbands and beads and feel out and so on. And so the people in the town felt offended and felt at odds with many of the behavior of many of the Kent State students. And so that was sort of the scene setter. When the students decided to have the symbolic burying of the Constitution.
It's kind of an us versus them, would you say? I mean, every place, especially in Ohio, where there are more colleges and universities, I think, in the state of Ohio than in any other state. I mean, it's you drive every 10 miles and there's another college or a university in Ohio because of the land grants around the Civil War. But
approaching a railroad crossing.
So there's always a town and gown thing going on, and that happens everywhere. But what was it that made this so us versus them? in Kent State?
Well, it wasn't, in the beginning it wasn't us versus them. The residents of the town were just sort of watching while the students were protesting against the war in Vietnam. But the real thing that set it off was the fact that the Ohio National Guard came on the campus.
Yeah.
The students felt offended. This was their turf. This was a place where they felt they were safe in being able to demonstrate against a popular war. And when the National Guard showed up and had their M1 rifles and their steel helmets and so on, the students shifted to a certain degree, shifted their focus from the war itself to the protest against the presence of National Guardsmen on their campus.
So it became kind of a proxy war.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
But May 1st, then that was, so if 30th was the Thursday when they buried the Constitution in front of the bell at Kent State.
They buried the Constitution on Friday.
Oh, Friday. Okay. So let's talk about the bars. Let's talk about the night that the some of this was fomenting in where kids gathered for beers and bands, and that was before, that was a couple of days before the events of May 4th, right?
No, this was Friday night, after the burial of the Constitution. This on Friday night. We've got a tradition in Kent. There's a strip of bars called North Water Street, and the kids go down there and just celebrate the end. Well, actually, they're celebrating the end of the
semester. Yeah.
So their town, Leroy Sadrum, got panicked, and he ordered the sheriff's department and the police to kick the kids out of the bars. So now you can imagine, here's a bunch of college kids having had a couple of beers. Now they're pushed out onto the main street. What do you think they're going to do? They start throwing their beer bottles through the windows and doing other things that are not proper.
Right.
So then the mayor turns around and he calls Columbus and asks for the National Guard to be sent into Kent. So,
okay.
Two mistakes by the mayor. He set up a situation where we not only had destruction in the bars on Water Street, but you also had the National Guard coming, 30 miles away from the active
Street
level where they were bivouacked.
All right, so, but here's one version of that story I've always heard. Again, we're talking with Robert Giles, who was the managing editor, who directed the Akron Beacon Journal's Pulitzer Prize-winning coverage of the Kent State Massacre. The book is The Kent State Shootings 50 Years Later, When Truth Mattered. And we'll get to some other reflections about truth and journalism later, but this is important because this is one of those points of fact I thought was disputed, which was some people said that the kids had come out earlier in various degrees of inebriation, smashed a window, and that's when the mayor called in the police to come and kick the rest of the kids out of the bars and to shut down the bars. Is that?
I don't know that I'm aware of a distinction in the sequence.
Okay.
I know that the mayor did, in fact, ask the police and the sheriff's department to get the kids out of the bars, and that was sort of an initiator of.
Right. How do they do that?
Oh,
How did they do that? How did they determine who was and who wasn't a Kent State student, or who wasn't a peaceable beer drinker? Some 22-year-old, guy who was just making a living as a plumber, having a cold one on North Water Street, and somebody who was a Kent State student. Did they look at IDs? Did they do anything at all, or did they just shut all the bars down right away?
They emptied out the bars. Then they made some arrests because they saw some kids throwing beer bottles. In fact, we ran the names of the kids who had been arrested, and they were going to have an appearance in the municipal court the following week. So we knew who they were. There weren't many of them, but they were enough to cause the mayor to take the next step, which is to call for the National Guard.
And you do that from the police blotter, just standard, this is the booking, the next morning the reporter comes in, finds out who got arrested, kind of a thing.
That's safe to go, right?
Yeah. Okay, so they kick him out. On whose authority does he shut down the bars? And which bars were chosen? Just the ones on North Water Street? Or could the students have gone 2 blocks in either direction, gone to another bar on their own? What?
Well, North Water Street is where the bars were. I mean, that's
okay. They were all there.
Gathering place for kids on Friday night, let off steam and celebrate the end of the week and what have you, and sketch the end of the term. So, that was simply the place you went.
Yeah. So the mayor had the authority to do that.
Yes.
Okay. In a legally prescribed manner, the mayor had the authority to send in the police and just shut down a business for that.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, interesting. Again, we're talking with the managing editor, Robert Giles. This is so helpful. So that is then what starts to build toward Saturday. Where do those drunken or semi-inebriated students go that night, that Friday night, after they've been kicked out of the bars? Where do they go?
I think they went home. But on Saturday, when the what happened on Saturday night was that the students called for a rally at the old ROTC building. And the Kent State had an ROTC program, and they used some World War II wooden buildings as their headquarters.
Well, I'm going to hold you there. Yeah, very, very old, very wooden buildings. Stand by. We'll get more with I think would be fair to say, one of the most key eyewitnesses to history, Robert Giles, coming up next. And we'll start talking about the Saturday before the Kent State shootings. On Coast to Coast AM, this is Ian Platt.
Hello, beautiful. I'm Amy.
Approaching a railroad crossing.
Founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. I started Madison Reed to give you the most gorgeous hair color made with ingredients you can feel good about. Are you tired of drugstore hair color? You deserve better. Spring is here and the forecast calls for your best hair color ever. Upgrade to salon quality hair color that nourishes and improves the condition of your hair without any harsh odors. It's easily done at home and we deliver it to your door. Plus, our hair color matching technology makes picking the right color easy, fast, and accurate. For a limited time, new clients get 15% off plus free shipping on your first online order. Visit madison-reed.com/promo. Take our online color quiz to find your
Approaching a railroad crossing.
perfect shade. That's madison-reed.com/promo. Try it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.
Binge listen this and all your artist stations, plus any song from our library of millions of songs, all ad-free. Get your free 30-day trial of iHeartRadio All Access. You'll love it. Don't be basic, be extra. Start your free 30-day trial of iHeartRadio All Access now.
Listen, the last time the economy looked like this, the stock market tanked 50%. The U.S. dollar lost 46% of its value, and the price of oil quadrupled. Yet, while the U.S. economy collapsed and unemployment ran through the roof, the price of gold shot up 1,300%, and silver rocketed over 2,400%. So if history repeats itself, we could see it happen again. Can you afford to miss what could be the biggest gold and silver boom of our lifetime? That's why I want you to call Goldco at 855-GOLD-IRA. Because when you do, you'll not only get the chance to protect your retirement savings with gold and silver, you could get up to $10,000 in free silver just for doing it. This is a rare opportunity, so don't miss what could be your best opportunity to protect your retirement savings. Call Goldco at 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-GOLD-IRA.
When you order ahead in the McDonald's app, we'll bring your food to your car when you get here. It's our version of a VIP experience. Order ahead in the McDonald's app to save time.
And participate in McDonald's.
Presentamos cuentas claras inspiradas por AT&T Fiber. Amor, ¿y ese pantallón nuevo?
Tu regalo de aniversario. ¡Tadán!
Pero yo veo mis novelas en mi tablet.
Ok, como somos guillonarios, seré claro contigo. Es un regalo de mí, para ver fútbol.
Yo también seré clara. Ni me acordaba que era nuestro aniversario. Las cuentas claras son mejores. Sin cargos por equipo, sin límite de datos, sin aumento de precio a los 12 meses. Vive como guillonario. Disponibilidad limitada en ciertas áreas. Visita att.com/más gigas.
The Surf Ranch Pro, presented by 805 Beer, is coming up in Lemoore, California this Memorial Day weekend, May 27th and 28th. Get the chance to watch the world's best surfers live at the awe-inspiring wave designed by 11-time world champion Kelly Slater and team. Whether you're a surf fan, sports enthusiast, foodie, music lover, or family, there's something for everyone at this event. There are ticket options for everyone, too. Buy yours today on surfranchpro.com and use code RANCH10 at checkout for 10% off all ticket types.
We joined the UNES community when our twins were just 4 years old.
We became part of the UNES community for our daughter, and she's not due for 6 months.
Join over 600,000 parents and children that have registered with UNEST by downloading the app today. For a limited time, download the UNEST app and use the code IHEART50 at sign up to receive a $50 bonus when you fund your account. That's code IHEART50 when you sign up at unest.co for a $50 bonus. See terms and conditions at unest.co.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing up and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog moths confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Shakes of a War Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on the court from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still life of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and